Hi, Victoria. Hi, Leanne.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Oh my gosh, your hair's getting so long.
Oh my goodness, I know I had it in a ponytail, so it's all kind of all over the place.
It's like grown so long just since Impact.
I know, and so have I.
Love it.
I am telling you, what a week.
Really?
After Oprah's speech on Friday,
Oh my God, don't even. Oh my gosh. I've watched it so many times and every time I cry my eyes out.
I hear you, but it was like it was that moment. My girlfriend had messaged me and she said, "Oh my God, Leanne," she said, "you have to watch Oprah's speech." So I'm in the parking lot of the dialysis clinic that I'm temporarily working in, and I had a meeting at 10:30 that I was just full of nerves because they're coming on strong. And I watched that video and I felt her speaking to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it just empowered me, and I walked in there and I just stayed true to myself and moving forward. Yeah,
Wow, that's
amazing.
amazing. Hello, Catherine. Hello, Victoria. Welcome, welcome. Leanne was just talking about Oprah's speech at the Golden Globes. Did everyone see it?
Mhm. No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my gosh, Catherine, get on it. It will change your life. It is phenomenal.
Yeah. All right. How many?
How are you doing, Victoria? Brownie's home. Brownie's
Yes.
Yeah, Brownie, come here.
home. Aww.
Come here.
Oh, look.
Oh my gosh, Brownie's home. Is that a purple sweater that Brownie has
I
on?
put a onesie on her because her poor little her breasts are hanging like crazy and they're
Aw.
full. So I've been putting warm compresses on her all day long and trying to help her because I don't want her to be uncomfortable, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Aw.
Yeah.
such a
She's
good
so
mom.
cute.
She's my suck though. She's just like a baby, this one.
Yeah, I can tell. Oh my gosh.
She loves attention. The other two are a little pissed off because now she's sucking up all the attention, eh?
Aww. Oh, Brownie, you are so cute, Brownie. Brownie can hear me. Oh my goodness. Catherine, how are you doing, honey?
I'm doing okay. I went for a swim this afternoon and I just, like had to burn the cobwebs out. So yeah, it was good. And I was practicing gratitude while I was in the pool.
Yes.
Thankful that my bathing suit still fits. I'm the fastest one in the place. I was the only one in the place. So yeah, it was good.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's kind of cool that you went swimming. So, did I tell you guys I'm a part? Yeah, I did. I told you I'm doing Christine's 80-day challenge. So
Yes.
that starts on Monday. So I'm like, oh my God.
For
I'm doing it
you.
I may
too.
not be able to lift my arms.
I'm doing it too.
That's right. That's oh my God, Victoria, I totally forgot. You're right. We're doing it together. So
Yeah.
next Tuesday, guys, to let you know, we may not be able to. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun and it's really cool. So, Catherine, you sent me a note. Thank you so much. That is a great question to ask. Catherine was asking about announcing who you guys are, most
Mhm.
definitely. And she was thinking she would like to do this on LinkedIn. And I think that's a great idea. So what I can do is, what I'd like to do is send you guys some information on what you can post and like who you guys are, like what it is that you're going to be doing, how people can be involved in this. I had a really, really long meeting last night. So the pips of course are live, but we're going to be releasing them, of course, to get some people for your workshops. Some of the core want to be doing it for their workshops as well. And so we're going to be doing this. There's 2 different avenues that we're doing it. So one avenue is going to be, of course, through Facebook and to the Army itself, because the Army is our target audience for this. 100%. I mean, they are the people that really want to be inspired. They want to be motivated. They want to learn how to have, you know, positivity in their life on a regular basis and how that works. So we're going to be taking them through what is called a funnel. Do you guys know anything about funnels?
No.
No.
A little maybe, Catherine? You may have actually experienced them yourself and not even known that that's what it was. So a funnel is it's taking them through different steps. So different steps before they decide to make the purchase. Okay, before they decide this is for them. So it's going to start with it's going to come from a very authentic place. And it's going to come from exactly how the Positive People Army started, exactly how I became the person that I am. So I'm going to tell the story of vulnerability and the difficulty that I had with that the majority of my life, and how one vulnerable moment changed my life and shifted me to realize that vulnerability is not something I should fear. It's actually courage. It's one moment. So that story is going to be told. Then from that, we're looking at 2 different options. They either say in the comments, I'm in, and then a chat bot is going to take them to another location where they are now going to see another free video. But they have to opt in to do that. So the next video, so I'm going to take them on a journey of how I actually became someone that is now, you know, someone that, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm an expert. I would just say I know a lot about positivity, you know, where I have made it, self-improvement has become my life. And so, you know, taking care of what's inside and making myself positive and happy has become my destiny and my journey, and how every single person can have the same thing. I think that's Janelle. Hi. Oh my gosh, we got a little friend with us. Hi, sweetheart. Hi, honey. Oh my goodness, you're shy tonight. You're shy tonight.
Yeah, give her a few minutes and then, oh gosh.
I know, right? So Janelle, I was just telling the ladies, Catherine had sent me a note wanting to know if she would be able to promote on LinkedIn what it is that she's going to be doing. In a number of weeks, this is going to happen. And most definitely, you guys are going to be able to do that. So we're putting the copy together for you guys to take that out yourself. Okay? So what is copy from us? But then I'm also probably going to give you instructions on how to do it yourself as well. Okay? So I was just telling them we're going to be announcing the PIP so you guys, so we can bring people in for the PIP workshops. And we're doing it in 2 different ways. One, I was just explaining, is a funnel. And I don't know if you know much about what a funnel is online, but it's how you take them through different stages before they get to the stage where it's like, this is a decision I want to make for myself. So they go on a journey. What I love about funnels is that it's a journey. So the very first thing they're going to see is a Facebook Live. It's going to be my story, how I discovered vulnerability is a courageous act and not something I should have feared. A very authentic, true moment that did happen, which then spawned me to go on a journey to of self-improvement. I had been on one for about 15 years now, so it wasn't something that was new. It was just that one shift, which was vulnerability, changed everything for me, even though I had been on that all along. So then from that video, they'll opt in, they'll go to a link which will take them out of Facebook and it'll take them to another video, okay? That video will then explain to them exactly what it is that I started to do, the discovery part. Then what's going to happen is because they've opted in, you guys, did you guys all do the Grateful Challenge that was in your inbox that I sent out? Did you guys do that at Christmas? So what's going to happen then is the next day, they will get the next video. They'll get video number 2, okay? And then the day after that, they'll get video number 3. After video number 3 is when they will now have an opportunity to sign up and become part of workshops and make the journey I have just taken them on for 3 days a part of their life, okay? So that's number 1. The second thing that we're doing, the company that works with us, is we're going to be doing Facebook advertising, so sponsored Facebook, so taking it outside of the group. Because that whole thing I told you guys about is going to be within the group. But we're also taking it outside of the group to also build the army. Okay? So there is like so much stuff happening right now, guys. We are getting you ready.
That is so exciting.
It is. It's very exciting. It's very exciting. So yes. So Catherine, great question. Thank you so much for that. So yes, LinkedIn, you'll be able to put it on your Twitter, on your Instagram, on your Facebook, all of that will happen, okay? So how is everyone? So just to let you know, Janelle, we started checking in. First of all, first thing out of Leanne's mouth was, oh my God, did you see Oprah Winfrey's speech? It was everything.
Absolutely.
Everything. I didn't watch the Golden Globes because I cut out my cable a few months ago. However, you know, with social media, you get updated immediately, and so I got a chance to just watch it, and I was like, oh my God. And it's funny, I was watching her on Instagram, and on Instagram, Gail was asking her, so are you ready? Are you prepared? And she's just like, well, you know, I am, but you know, I'll pretty much write my speech in the car. And I'm like, what a brilliant woman that, you know, and then she grabbed her lunchbox and then she was on her way. And it's just a true testament to authenticity and then just self-development. She obviously she's obviously not an overnight success. So the ability to, you know, promote her book club, the fact that she reads so much, the fact that she is so visible and she can communicate exactly what she's looking to say, and then be on such an incredible platform and be the voice for many unheard voices. It was absolutely incredible.
See, that's the thing. There's the important thing. She uses her platform. She uses her platform for the betterment of all mankind. She does. She is all like, she stood up there. I mean, here she was accepting that incredible, incredible award. And she could have gone on and on and on about her accolades and thank you to this person and thank you to that person. And yet she took that opportunity to make such a bold, profound statement for humanity, but like mostly for women. Like that was everything. I got to tell you, like when she said we are on the dawn of the horizon, I'm going to tell you, I felt it. And I felt it going into this year. I felt it, and I feel what it's going to be is taking down Trump. I feel that is going to be the pinnacle moment that will change everything. And he will be taken down by a woman. That's what's going. I'm predicting it. I am saying it. It will be women that take him down.
Yes, you just gave me goosebumps.
Yes, I truly believe that. I do believe that. Yes, I do. Wow. So, ladies, what I cannot believe tonight is what are we doing here? The workshop that we're doing today is on perspective, which is Mia's favorite topic. And she is at a meeting tonight. I couldn't be here. And she sent me a note and she's like, I can't believe of all workshops I've been to, it's my favorite, which is perspective. So I was like, of course, right? Okay, so we're going to get started if everyone's ready, unless, Janelle, you didn't really check in. Did you want to check in on anything, honey?
I'm okay. I'm not going to lie, though. I've been kind of suffering from a little bit of the blues. Because it's
Okay.
so dark and dreary and just, so I'm combating that by going to the gym more. So I used to go to a gym. I live in North York, but I used to go to the gym all the way downtown. Don't ask why, but I did. And it was more like, it was personal training and I loved my trainer, but I said, you know what, I'm going to find a gym closer to home. And so I've been going to a new gym and it has a sauna and all sorts of stuff in it. So I'm really taking advantage of that so that I can just be not so bluesy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And,
Have you been tapping into your journaling at all?
I have. I've actually been journaling a lot more than I have in the past. And then I also got a separate agenda.
Okay.
So I used to kind of mishmash everything in one book, but I'm like, no, let me do an agenda. And then now I have a journal, and I actually just purchased another book that I'm going to make solely as my gratitude journal.
Nice. Very nice.
I'm very much on the way, and yeah, okay. I'm very much practicing gratitude. It's just I forget which one of the seminars that we did or sessions we did, where it's like, I know I'm doing well, I know I'm doing everything, and perhaps because I'm not seeing the result yet, I'm like, oh, like what's going on? What am I doing? Should I give up? Oh, I'm not doing good enough. I should do more. You know what I mean? Like just kind of almost self-sabotage. So I need to just kind of nip that in the bud.
Yes, it's funny because I did a talk this morning, a Facebook Live, and it was all on baby steps and the importance of what baby steps are. And so that's the thing. Like what's happening is we set a goal, we set an intention, we do whatever, and then because of society and because of everything that's going on in our life, we expect it to happen overnight. And so why isn't it happening fast enough? Because everything else in our life, Chanel, is happening really fast. Someone wants some kisses. Because everything happens so fast. I love that you got an agenda because that goes hand in hand with what I talked about today. There was an experiment that was done out of Columbia University, honey, where what they did was they wanted to see if setting a systematic doing baby steps was beneficial for human beings, okay? And so what they did is the experiment that they did is they gave everyone a coffee card. Super simple. You know the coffee card, buy 10, get one free? The thing is that they noticed, so they monitored this, they noticed everyone was buying their coffee, pretty regimented. Sometimes they'd skip a day, skip a week, whatever. But the closer that they got to the 10, the more they started to escalate buying their coffee to get their free coffee. And what this proves is when you set the baby steps and you set that agenda for yourself, you are motivating yourself to reach your goal. You will take the baby steps because every step closer is getting you to your free coffee. So use that agenda, set those baby steps. So whatever your goal is, set it out. Then each time you get it, just like you enjoy that cup of coffee, celebrate whatever that baby step was. And you will naturally, as a human being, motivate yourself to get to the end, but set it out for yourself. And I want you to start thinking of your goals and things that you're doing now as literally that buy 10, get one free coffee. And that's your end result. It does actually work. Like, honest to God, they tried it again and again. They even did it with, they gave one group, they gave them buy 12, get one free, but 2 of them they already marked off. And for some reason, they sped up their motivation to get the free coffee, thinking they had something more than the other, when in fact, it was exactly the same as the other one. So it's pretty phenomenal as human beings who we are. We have the capacity to motivate ourselves. We just need to make sure we systematically lay it all out. Yes.
Wow.
You're going to get through this, Janelle. We're going to get you through this. Sweetheart, don't hesitate. You guys have me at your disposal. Don't hesitate to reach out to me if you're struggling, honey. I'm here. We can have a quick chat. You know, we can just Facebook Messenger each other. We can have a Facebook video message, like whatever you need. Don't hesitate, okay? That goes for everyone here. Yeah.
Heidi, did you get did you understand my message on Facebook? Your email is full.
Bounce back. I know. I ended up going on the helpline. Thank you for that. I went on the helpline for my email, and yes, it was to capacities, and I have to upgrade my email to like higher gig to hold the emails. I know, it's a pain in the neck. Technology. It drives me crazy. I swear to God. I love it so much, and at the same time, I'm like, are you kidding me with this? Okay, are we ready, guys, for perspective? Okay, here we go. I'm going to start it with a funny. I'm going to actually start perspective with a joke. Here is the joke. Sherlock Holmes, you all know who Sherlock Holmes is. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson were camping. They pitch their tent under the stars and they go to sleep. Sometime in the middle of the night, Holmes wakes up Watson. And he says, Watson, look up at the stars and tell me what you deduce. Watson says, I see millions of stars, and even if a few of those have planets, it's quite likely there are some planets like Earth. And if there are a few planets like Earth out there, there might also be life. What does this tell you, Holmes? And Holmes says, Watson, you idiot. Someone stole our tent. So, of course, why did they both have a different answer? They had a different answer because of perspective. Okay? So what is perspective? You know what? We all know what this is. So we're really gonna break down perspective today to the real nitty-gritty of why different things happen. Because we all do know that, you know, I have an opinion, you have an opinion, we see things in different ways, but why? Why does this even happen? And how can we change it? Okay? So as human beings, the stories we subconsciously tell ourselves about our circumstances, about others, and about life in general drastically changes how we feel. Okay? So all those stories are constantly telling us how we feel. If the stories are positive, we tend to feel good. If the stories are negative, we definitely start to lose hope. This is not rocket science. We all know that stuff. Of course, there's more to feeling good than just being positive. The details of your present reality matter and make a difference. But generally speaking, you're not going to have a good day today if you keep telling yourself, I'm going to have otherwise. Okay? We know that. That's your perspective. That's your choice. The stories we tell ourselves don't just change how we feel. They actually change what we see, what we experience, and what we know to be true. Like, this is what happened. Those stories do that for us. This is the primary reason multiple people can go through the same experience but interpret it differently. It's amazing when that happens. Like, I'm fascinated by that. Like, when it comes to humans, I am fascinated with how two people can have the exact same experience and see it completely different. So each of us may enter a shared experiences with different story echoing through our mind. So, and our unique story and our inner dialogue alters the way we feel every step of the way. This means the same experience, of course, can be felt very differently by different people. This, of course, is their perspective. Okay? But it's influenced by so much more. So what it is in a way, the stories we tell ourselves, what that does is it narrows our perspective. Okay? So when we enter an experience with a story about how life is, that tends to be all we see. Do you understand all of that? So when we go in with our stories, what are our stories? Our stories are our examples. Okay, there's this great old parable. It's really, and you can go online, you can find the whole real story of the dialogue. I've just kind of put it into a sentence, but it's actually a very famous one. This old parable about blind men who had never seen or encountered an elephant in their entire life. Never. They have no idea what an elephant is. One day, the group of blind men come across an elephant on their way into town. Each of them touched the elephant for the very first time. Now, they're blind. They cannot see it. So they touched the elephant for the very first time to see what it's like. Each of them felt a different part of the elephant, but only that part. So one touched the leg, somebody touched the trunk, somebody touched the side, a tusk, the tail. They touched all different parts. Then the men eagerly compare notes and quickly learn that they are in complete disagreement about what an elephant looks like. Something similar happens through our different past experiences. Some have been deeply heartbroken. Some have lost parents, siblings, or children. Some have had multiple careers, or we've had different educations. We're all very different. Our stories are all completely different. And when we enter a new experience that arouses prominent memories of our own story from the past, it shifts our perspective in the present. So something that's happened to us in the past. So for instance, if like, I know I'm not going to lie to you. My ex-husband, for instance, this is a bad thing. My ex-husband was a male Gemini, and he was such a Gemini sign. You know, that twin, like he definitely had the good and the good and the evil. He definitely had that. And I have to tell you, that experience, anytime I meet a male and they tell me that they're a Gemini, I automatically have a perspective on that person. Because of my past experience, I bring that into the present. It's something I'm extremely aware of, that I'm really like, oh my gosh, I have to stop doing that. I have no idea who this human being is. But right away, my experience comes into my present. And what does that do? It narrows my perception. Okay? Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, I'm looking from here instead of taking that whole person in. So when a negative past experience narrows our present perspective, it's mostly just a defense mechanism. It really is. We're protecting ourselves. We're constantly, that's what we are. We were born, we were put on this earth to protect ourselves. Mm-hmm. So, and that's exactly still what happens. So every day of our lives is we're presented with some level of uncertainty, and our innate human defense mechanisms, they just don't like it one bit. They don't. So our minds try to compensate by filling in the gaps of information, by clinging to the stories we already feel comfortable with. So we end up subconsciously trying to make a better sense of everything in the present, but yet we're using our old stories of the past as filler, which guess what that does? In a lot of cases, that does really screws things up on so many levels. And you know those people that have not in any way dealt with their past, their hurts, any of their experiences, their traumas, anything that has happened in their past where they've been left or hurt or anything. And they haven't dealt with it. It's going to come right into this present, and it's going to shift their entire perspective on things. Okay, so something we definitely need to be aware of. So what we need to do is we need to reframe the story. We have to reframe it. Many of the biggest understanding in life could be avoided if we simply take the time to ask, what else could this mean? What else could this mean? Just asking that question. And while that question alone can help us reframe our thoughts and broaden our perspectives, use the simple phrase as a prefix to troubling thoughts, okay? So what you're gonna be like, what else could this mean? So right now, I know I'm reacting in this way. I have no idea what this experience is, but am I actually telling myself a story? So then you can ask yourself, the story I'm telling myself, ... We're gonna fill it in. So the story I'm telling myself can be applied to any difficult life situation or any circumstance in which a troubling thought is getting the best of you, okay? So if you know that, you're reacting to something where you probably shouldn't be reacting, okay? And that's the thing. And have you ever had people that pointed out, it's like, oh my God, why do you always react like this? That's not what this is. When people say that to you and you're like, no, that is what it is. It's like, no, it's not. Like, what's going on with you? So this is a perfect example. Okay, so perhaps someone you love. Okay, so let's put it, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your sister, anyone, a friend, didn't call you on your lunch break when they said they would, okay? This is a simple thing. They didn't call you, and now an hour has passed, and you're feeling upset because you're obviously not a high priority to them. When you catch yourself feeling this way, use this phrase. The story I'm telling myself is that they didn't call me simply because I'm not a high enough priority to them. Is that really what happened, guys? Or did you just create that story from something that's happened in your past? Did something from your past come forward where you have not felt like a high priority for someone, and now you're putting that into your present situation? So, is this perspective reality? You have to ask yourself that. To truly have perspective, we need to look at the shared reality of an event. The more perspective you get, the closer you're going to be to reality. Okay? Because that sentence I said, I'm not a high enough priority, where did that even come from? That's not reality. Okay? So something as minor as just stepping back and shifting and reframing your perspective, literally changing the way that you see the world around you, can immensely help you when it comes to getting what you want. Okay, so what we need to do is it requires conscious and continuous effort if you want to unlock the long-term benefits to your life. So this is what we're going to do. Ask yourself these questions. Can I be absolutely certain this story is true? So ask yourself that question. How do I feel and behave when I tell myself this story? So you're asking yourself, what's another possibility that might also make the ending to this story true? So sitting and asking yourself these questions, you're going to start to reframe yourself, and you're stepping back from this like cyclone you're creating in your head that you're not a high priority. So on the average day, I bet your answers are going to be this. So can I be absolutely certain this story is true? No. No. You don't know that that's true. You don't know that you're not a high priority in this situation. How do I feel and behave when I tell myself this story? Well, I'm going to suspect that you don't feel very good telling yourself this story. So right here, you're stepping back and you're starting to get perspective that this is not reality. And I hope questions number 3, you start doing a whole lot more. So what's other possibilities that might be the ending to this story? They could be stuff like this. I don't know why they haven't called yet, but maybe they're going to later. You just don't know. They're extremely busy at work, and maybe they didn't even get a lunch break. Maybe something happened at work. They forgot to charge their phone last night and their battery is dead. That would be my youngest son, Hayden. That is generally what he does, because he never charges his phone. And then there was a misunderstanding, and maybe they're waiting for me to call them. See, there's so many possibilities here to change your perspective and to bring you closer to what the reality is. So instead of getting yourself all worked up with a story that you've created from your past, remember, we brought our past into our present to make that our perspective. It's not real. It's not. Okay, so we're going to get yourself out of that. So anytime all of a sudden those moments where you start to you just automatically, this is what this is, and I'm always so amazed by people. And I think it's because I have to tell you, I'm not someone that, I don't get angry easily at all. I don't get upset with people easily at all. There is you have to do some pretty horrific things for me to be upset with you, for me to be angry with you. I always just I just don't feel that way. I don't react that way with people. And I'm always so amazed where, there may be a certain circumstance where, say, I didn't get back to someone's text. Facebook Messenger has become the bane of my existence right now. Because of the Army, I am inundated with Facebook Messenger messages from people, private messages. And so I lose, because they come in so fast, and I do my best to keep up with all the messengers, but some I don't. And then someone will get in touch with me and they'll be like, oh my gosh, Heidi, I'm so sorry. I know you're upset with me. I know that's why you didn't get back to me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know you messaged me. Their perspective was that I'm ignoring them when in fact I just haven't even seen it. And I'm like, oh my God, sweetie, can you just text me? Because I can't keep up with that, But right away, something from their past they brought to the present and put that now they think I'm upset. They've created the story. Okay? So that's a big one, guys. That's a big one. So challenge yourself to think differently. The story I'm telling myself and the 3 related questions gives you a tool for revisiting and reframing the troubling or confusing situations that arise in your daily life. From there, you can challenge your stories you're subconsciously telling yourself and do that reality check. So challenge yourself on a regular basis with this. You're going to start seeing things you've never seen before. You 100% will. You're going to start experiencing things you've never experienced before, and you're going to learn a whole lot more clue lessons about people, because all of a sudden you're not so stuck in these stories you're creating. You're kind of stepping back and you're starting to see things from like completely different eyes. It's like, you know, when they say like you take the rose colored glasses off and it's like, oh my God, it's amazing. It's so true. That's exactly what happens. Okay, so we're going to talk about a couple of skills here because you want to start shifting that perspective. Now that we know all about the stories that we can bring into things, now we're going to talk about different situations and the skills that you can use just to shift your perspective. So when something comes in and you have an opinion on something and you want to start shifting it. So the first skill is shifting your perspective is called perspective taking. Okay, so one beautiful skill we have as human beings is we do have the capability to take on a different perspective. We do have that ability to do that. For fun, I want you to try this one, okay? So close your eyes for a moment, and I want you to think of a situation that you recently are having a hard time with. So a person that you're having a hard time with, okay? So see that person. Now imagine yourself taking the point of view of the other person you are dealing with. Not yours. You do not exist right now. You are now that other person. You are literally that other person. Okay? Now, then I want you to ask yourself, as that person you're thinking of, what do I want? What does that person want? Not what you want. Do not put yourself in this. What do they want? Then I want you to ask this question. As that person, what do I fear? Because that's the thing. In any situation that we're going on, you guys can open your eyes now. But do you see how all of a sudden, when you take yourself out, you put yourself in their shoes? None of your opinions exist now. And now it's not just what do I want, but you need to ask, what do I fear? Because whatever you're going through, you need to remember that person is going through the same thing. So that's an easy way where you can put yourself in someone else's shoes. Perspective taking is about being able to understand a situation from the other point of view of another person. And you know that whole saying about, you know, unless you've walked a mile in my shoes, you just don't know. It's true. It's so true. But it's not until you really ask those questions that you can figure that out. Okay, so the next one is perspective seeking, okay? This skill is reaching out to people and better understanding their point of view on a specific topic or situation. So it's about being truly authentically curious about hearing and learning more about their perspective, not just looking at the good or bad. So this isn't just putting yourself in their shoes. It's literally trying to have understanding of it. So it's that whole curious side. And this one for me, like perspective seeking is something I do on a very regular basis, because I can't even describe to you how fascinated I am with people. So it's not just like, okay, I'm like putting myself in your shoes, but now I want to understand more. So explain it to me from your perspective so I can understand it. So if I have to, I can research it. I can look it up. I can get more information on it. Because what that ends up doing, perspective seeking shifts. So not only are you able to see their perspective, you're able, by doing this, you take a perspective on your thoughts, ideas, and beliefs that you previously may not have had. So this one in particular can completely shift your beliefs. Like all of a sudden you're seeing yourself from a different avenue. You're literally, you're seeing it from someone else's eyes and you're understanding it. Okay, so those are the two ways, and it's very, very important as we go through life to not only like, okay, I understand where you're coming from, I get it. No, really explain it to me and have me, like maybe I will completely shift my opinion on it if you explain it more to me. Do you see what I'm saying here? Does everyone understand the difference between those two? Because it's slight, but there's definitely a difference. Okay, so situations you should change perspectives on. You know what? Before we do that, I'd love to know, did everyone, when I had you close your eyes, were you all able to let go of your own opinion on the matter you were thinking? Or did you still find it hard? You were good, Janelle? Yeah?
Mm-hmm. I was good.
Yeah? Catherine?
I had trouble thinking of someone I was having a problem with.
Well, that's good. That's good. Victoria, what about you?
I've been practicing a lot of this. Like, I'm trying not to judge right away and stuff, and I kind of sit back.
Nice.
And try not to say anything until I know more, because I found that I fly off the handle because I didn't have patience to deal with things. So I've been practicing that a lot in the last month or so.
Oh my gosh, good for you. So this one's going to be really good for you, Victoria. Like, I feel like you're going to get a lot out of this one and shifting that perspective. It's a really good thing. Okay, so situations you should change perspectives on. These are definite situations you have to start shifting. Okay, so Victoria, this one might be a good one for you. Stop stressing about things that aren't important. That's a big one. So when you're in the midst of dealing with challenging situations, those little annoyances and minor decisions can feel like they're ruining your life. I'm telling you right now, spoiler alert, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
The only way to gain perspective about what's actually important is to take a step back. I got to tell you, perspective is that take a breath. You know, you can even physically step back. I have done that before in certain situations where I have been. I have physically taken a step back to make myself see a different perspective because of the situation that's going on. Take a step back and try your best to change the way you view whatever is attempting to tackle. Okay, honestly, this one, it's not ruining you. Like you have to take a step back for that one. Negative opinions. This is a good one. There's lots of them. A lot of us, we get negative opinions. We have family relationships. We have friendships that are like this. It could be, you know, colleagues, work situations. Leanne, I know you're dealing a lot with this right now. Everyone's got an opinion. Everyone. You have to 100% always know that. Well-intentioned friends and family can often bog you down with unsolicited feedback on your choices. That is going to happen. Add that to the constant influence of social media. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I don't feel like I have that too much anymore because my social media is just positivity. That's all my news feed is now. There's nothing like that. I don't have bad social media. It's all good. Changing your perspective gives you the perfect opportunity to break that cycle by quieting the outside voices that make you question who you are and how life is progressing. So that moment you need to shift. When they do that, it is not about you. None of that is about you. That is all about them. It definitely is. Can I tell you the funniest thing? So I know this psychic medium. She's down in Niagara, and I absolutely love her. I've had her do readings before, and I've never had anyone that was so spot on like she was. And so she does these now Facebook live readings where she'll come on and she'll be like, text me a question. And I love watching her stuff because it's like amazing. People are freaking out on like you'll see all the comments coming up because she'll just read the last four numbers. And then she'll say, your question is this, here's your answer. So nobody knows a name. But then people on the comments are like, oh my God, that's spot on. So I know exactly who it is that she was reading, right? Which I find quite funny. But it's quite amazing. So But she reached out to me just recently, and here she is, this person that has this incredible talent to read people. And she said, Heidi, I'd love your advice on something. She's like, I do these readings now on Facebook and I'm having so much fun. But, I've had a couple of people, and this one woman in particular that keeps coming on and, saying, don't waste your time with this. Fraud, hack, fraud, all of this stuff. And she's like, it's just so hurtful. And I just, wondered if you had any advice as to, what I should be doing here. I haven't, interacted with this person at all, although one of my girlfriends did, because she was online watching the reading. And so, and I had to, so I shifted the perspective and started to tell her, like, this has nothing to do with you. Her comments have nothing to do with you. It has to do with her past experience. So she's either had a past experience with a medium, or she's grown up in a family where they don't believe this, or whatever it is. Her perspective of you is coming from her past, and she's putting it onto you. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. So, my advice is just block this person, let go of it, and move on. You're good. I mean, you help hundreds and hundreds of people all over the world. You're phenomenal, And she's like, Heidi, I know that. I think I just needed to hear it, but thank you so much. But see, it's just, it happens to everyone. These moments where it's like, what do you do with that? The negative opinions. And it has nothing to do with you. And I said to her, I'm not discounting that you were probably hurt, because we are human beings and that does hurt. But I'm telling you from a perspective point of view, it has nothing to do with you. So the next one, be more empathetic. Oh my gosh, perspective has everything to do with that. Regardless of what's going around you, getting wrapped up in your own drama is par for the course. It doesn't mean you're selfish or a bad person, okay? So I want to make sure you guys know that. But when your self-centeredness gets in the way of your ability to empathize with other people's struggles or what they're trying to get across to you, well, then you're going to have a problem. So definitely in any situation and you're in that drama, and it's very hard, especially when you are in a drama of your own, to just see your point of view, because one, you're hurt, you're angry, you're frustrated, there are extreme emotions that are happening. But we need to be able to still step back, understand and be aware of what we're going through, but then also try to see the other person's perspective in what is happening, so that you're not constantly just doing this. Okay, so empathy, empathy is like, that is just good for everything. It is. Mm-hmm. I feel sorry for all those poor narcissists that don't have empathy. I really do. Okay, accept the fact that happiness is a state of mind. So many people believe that happiness is something that comes along when they finally maintain a successful relationship, get a job, whatever it is. But of course, you guys know that that's not what it is. Mm-hmm. Change your perspective and you'll realize that true happiness isn't a function of circumstance, it's a choice. Okay? You guys know this one fully. We talk about that one all the time. Mm-hmm. So it comes down to your state of mind, your mindset. Remember that good fortune also is totally relative. So we all go through times where we're on the wrong side of luck. Nothing is going right. Why is everything going wrong? Of course, there are moments that we have this, but I truly believe all those things are supposed to be happening. They are there to teach us. They are there for the lessons that we're supposed to learn. And then, of course, Janelle's going to go out and get her gratitude journal. And Catherine was at the pool today doing her gratitude. These are moments where we need to bring our gratitude in. Shift your perspective with gratitude. So every situation that we go through, there is always another perspective to deal with it. And it's finding out what that is. Okay? So perspective methods. So I got a few methods here that you guys can use in different situations. One of them is called the 5 rule. And this one's been around for a really, really long time. I got to tell you, I remember when the 5-minute rule thing, and some people used to use 3, is this going to affect me in 3 months? Should I be upset with it? I want to say it was like a good, 15 or so years ago, this was really popular. People used to say this one all the time. So what you need to do with the 5 rule is you say to yourself, whatever the moment is, will I care about this in 5 minutes? Okay, so whatever that moment is, this is an easy method of how to start shifting your perspective. Will I care about this in 5 minutes? If the answer is yes, continue. Will I care about this in 5 hours? If the answer is yes, continue again. Will I care about this in 5 days, then 5 months, then 5 years? Continue until the answer is no. See, what this does is it's going to give you some perspective on the current situation at hand. It may seem all encompassing right there, where it's like, oh my God, the sky is falling, everything is so awful. But all of a sudden, when you start thinking of it, is this really going to matter in like 5 hours? Is this really going to matter in 5 days? Like, is any of this going to matter? All of a sudden, what you're going through doesn't seem that significant anymore. Mm-hmm. So it's an easy, quick method to just shift your perspective in that, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. So I want you to definitely, this one is good. You know those moments, and we're going to talk about this, but you know those moments where, it's completely out of your control and something happens, like, oh my gosh, you got a flat tire. And you're like, oh my God, this is going to ruin my day. This is the worst thing that has ever happened to me. Everybody always goes to that. This is the worst day of my life. Really? This is the worst day of your life. So that's the thing, that this is an easy way to get you out of this. Is this going to make a difference in 5 minutes? Yes. Is this going to make a difference in 5 hours? Yep, probably. Is this going to make a difference in 5 days? No, not really. Not really. No. Why am I getting so upset? So you see how you can pull yourself out of something with these cute little methods. Okay, past does not equal the future. I love this. Tony Robbins actually said the past does not equal the future. It doesn't equal. It was the past. Once you look at the past as a completely separate entity from your future, you shift your perspective of the past to a place to learn from and not to live in. Okay, so this goes back to what we did at the very beginning, where I told you all your stories you're bringing into the present. When you all of a sudden realize you put yourself in that situation where my past doesn't belong here. It's a completely different thing. It's something to learn from, not to live in. Okay, that is a really good one. Removing tunnel vision. Now, life has its ups and downs. It's like the tragedy and the setback, the failures, all that stuff. Instead of asking, why me? Try to ask, why did this happen? Okay, so not why me. We're still in a why. Why did this happen? What will come of this? Okay, then write a list of things you are grateful for in that moment. It will remind you that the tragedy, the setback, or the failure is temporary and not the whole picture of who you are or what your life is. So it's not why me, it's why did this happen? And then you can figure it out, okay? When negative scenarios hit, they come to you with tunnel vision. Okay, they always do. It's very much like I talked about when you all of a sudden bring your past in, your narrowed vision. It's the same thing here. You can only see the tragedy and nothing else exists. The tunnel vision is a form of perspective, just a different perspective that you can change. If you take the glasses off and see the negative scenario for what it is, one part of a grander whole that makes up your life, you can allow room to breathe in the positive aspects that have to happen, okay? So not why me, why did this happen? What will come of this? And that is when we get to a place of where we're learning. That is when we get to a place where we're able to let go of, because it's not you, okay? Does everyone understand those? We good? Okay, so everyday perspectives to change. These are such good ones because there's so many little tiny idiosyncrasies that we do on a day-to-day that shift our perception of how we're living our life. The first one is expecting the worst from others. How many people know people like this? that they just always expect the worst. How many people? I know lots of people that do that. I know lots of people. They do. They always expect the worst of everyone. If we constantly assume other people act with negative intentions, the world will start to look a lot bleaker. Maybe the person who cut you off on the road in a rush due to an emergency, or is just isn't paying attention. Maybe they have an emergency. They didn't do it on purpose to you. Not at all. And like, I always find that so amazing when people like automatically go to the negative and automatically expect that it's being done to you. They're awful people, whatever it is. When it's just so much easier to just like, oh my gosh, you know, if they're in a rush, like I always say, if someone has stolen something or whatever, it's like, well, you know what? They probably need it more than I do then. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks that happened, but I'm not going to say that everyone's super bad. The next one is dread. This one for me, I shifted a number of years ago. So I used to dislike the day Sunday. Does anyone else have that dread? Like, you dread a day. You dread something that is coming up. When we dread Sundays because Monday is coming, and then we dread Mondays because we have to start the week. Why are we dreading all of these awful things? Shift your perspective to see that all days have their own wonderful things about them. See, if we spend our time constantly thinking, morning, public transportation, oh my God, Monday, that's such an awful perspective that you are bringing into your life. Our moods will become increasingly better and will only benefit all of our relationships that surround us when we get rid of the dread. That perception on everything is awful. I know for myself, like I said, Sundays were the day. I disliked Sundays because it was always like, where did it come from, guys? It came from my past. It came from being the kid. I hated Sundays. Monday was going back to school. And this one past experience had followed me all the way through my life to even an adult. All of a sudden, I'm still dreading Sundays. And it's like, why? I don't have to go to school. I chose this life. You know what I mean? So all of a sudden I shifted my perspective, and honestly, God, you guys see me do the pink Post-its of inspiration. I always say Sundays are my favorite days. I love Sundays now. Sundays have become something where I don't do any chores on Sundays. I don't do grocery shopping. I don't do cleaning the house. I don't do anything like that. Sundays are going for brunch. I do the pink Post-it of inspiration. I read a book. I take a bath. I go for a walk. I spend time with the kids. Whatever it is, I've made Sunday because I shifted my perspective because I was bringing my past experience to a day. And that's where dread comes from. All or nothing. This is a hard one. This one is definitely a woman thing. And this one happens a lot, and it comes down to all or nothing. So you restrict yourself from things in life because there's no success unless you're doing it all, and then and there's no success at all if you're doing nothing. So what happens? As women, we do diets, we fast, we restrict ourselves from all of the things that we love. Now, I'm not saying that you should be binging because that's very unhealthy, but feeling deprived when we don't have things and then guilty when we do is just as bad for our health and well-being. So a simple shift in perspective that allows more flexibility will allow us to succeed. Success is not always black and white, nor should your perspective be. So all or nothing, get rid of it. Should not exist. That perspective is awful. Okay, out of control. Sometimes bad things happen in life, like I mentioned about the flat tire. Maybe a bird poops on your head. You can't prevent that. You can't stop something like that. But why are you going to let something like that shift your perspective? That was completely out of your control. It happened. Move on. I have to tell you guys, did you guys know that I was in Facebook jail? I told you guys that, eh? I am no longer in Facebook jail, but I was in Facebook jail for 6 days. And when it happened, I was like, okay, well, it's completely out of my control. There's absolutely nothing I can do here. I could have, for 6 days, stewed about it, bitched about it, complained about it, I didn't. There was no complaining. I told people, oh my God, I can't believe I'm in Facebook jail. But I did not let it change my mood or how I was functioning in my day-to-day. That because I shifted my perspective knowing it was out of my control. Okay? So balanced life perspective. So I want to talk to you guys about this one. We've talked a lot about our past. We've talked a lot about being in the present. And so that's why I wanted to end on this. Do you view the past with fondness, enjoy the present, and strive for future goals? Of course you do. Of course you do. If you hold all of these perspectives in balance, okay, in a balanced way, it will contribute tremendously to your sense of well-being. So here's the thing. It has been proven that happiness stems from a balanced perspective involving looking fondly on the past, enjoying the present, and having goals for the future. So you're probably wondering, why are you even telling me this? I don't understand what you're getting at here. So here's the thing. A new study by San Francisco State University researcher Ryan Howell and his colleagues demonstrates that having this sort of balanced time perspective can make people feel more vital, more grateful, and more satisfied with their lives. So here's the thing, and you all know these people. If you are too extreme or rely too much on any one of these, it becomes detrimental and you can get into a very destructive types of behavior. It's best to be balanced in your time perspectives. So you know those people, and sometimes like we see them in movies where it's like, you know the girl that they went to high school or college together with, and now they're adults and they have families, but all she ever wants to do is relive the past, constantly talk about the past. Only that was the best time of our life. Oh my God, when we were in college, that was when I was the happiest. So they're not living in the present moment. They're constantly just in the past. But then you have to think, then there's those other people that are just so fixated with being in the present moment that they have nothing to do. They don't bring any of the past in or even talk about it. And they're not even looking at their future goals because they're like, no, I've got to live in the present. And then there, again, those other people that are just constantly striving for the future and they're never here. Like my mother rushes through life. And as a kid, I can't even tell you, she just like couldn't wait to do this to get to this. And as soon as she got to this, couldn't wait to finish that to get to this. Couldn't wait to finish this to get to this. She was always wanting to live in the future, that she never appreciated the moments here. And so I've always been this person, like, and probably you guys are exactly the same way, where it's like, I watch a movie or like something happens or something from my past or whatever it is, and I'll bring it up. And my mother will be like, why are you talking about that? That was like so long ago. That's just ridiculous. You got to be thinking about your future. And I'm like, oh my God, I can have memories. I'm just reliving a moment here with ya. Don't you remember? Like we just did this and it just made me think of that. You know what I mean? She's so fixated on the future that there's no present and there's hardly even a past because she doesn't even talk about it. So you have to make sure that one is not dominant over the other, that you're constantly keeping it balanced so that do you have a sticker on your head, Janelle? I just noticed that. You know I get distracted. I'm a magpie in a past life. I'll always be distracted. I love it. I love it. I love it. So definitely, to achieve a much more fulfilled life, it is suggested a rebalanced perspective. So if you find yourself constantly, like, I wish I could go back to the way I was 5 years ago. I hear that from women a lot. They'll say, I was so much happier then, because what has happened is maybe they've gotten divorced. Maybe there's been a tragedy. Maybe there's been something or whatever. And they're constantly just, I wish I could just, I was so much happier 5 years ago. It's like, you're living in the past. What about now? You're missing out on now. And then what about your future? What about what you could be? So it's like, make sure, always be aware that you have a balance between all three. Okay. So definitely memories are fantastic as long as they're not, messing up what's happening here in the present. Your present, we have to live here in the present moment to achieve things. And then we always have to have set goals and dreams and visions for ourselves and keep it nice and balanced. Okay. So I wanted to tell you guys a cute little story about perspective that happened with my son. And I'm going to end it tonight on this cute little story. But this story happened when Michael, and this has everything to do with perspective, and being able to offer someone another perspective to shift them, being able to do that. Okay. So my son, when he went to grade 3, when Michael was going into grade 3, we moved. Mike and I had now gotten together. I was divorced. Mike and I got together and we lived in St. Catharines, and we decided to purchase a home in Niagara Falls. So we moved to Niagara Falls. So of course, Michael James had to change schools. So now this was grade 3. So the very first day of school, he was super excited. My son is, he definitely has my personality. So he's very outgoing, he's very charismatic. And so he couldn't wait to meet all of his new friends and go to school. So I dropped him off and he pretty much skipped into class. So at the end of the day, I went to pick him up. And I'm sitting in the car and I can see him walking out of the school, and his head's hung low and he's walking really slow. And I could tell something was up with him. So he gets in the car, and again, he's just like, just sitting in the car, grade 3. And so I said, Michael James, what's the matter? What happened? Like, how was your day? And he said, Mom, I've had the worst day of my life. He's in grade 3. The worst day of his life. I've had the worst day of my life. I should also mention he's a little dramatic like his mother as well. So he said the worst day of his life. And I said, really, why did you have the worst day of your life? And he said, well, we went out at recess, the first recess in the morning, and everyone was going to play tag. And I said, okay. And he said, so I asked the rules. So what's time out? What is T? What is T? So they explained to him, the kids on the playground, his new friends, that everything that is timeout is anything that is green. So Michael is, unlike me, he's much more black and white than I am. He says, well, that doesn't make sense. It can't be that everything is green. The equipment, the playground equipment is green. The grass is green. The trees are green. The bushes are green. The fence is green. Everything's green out here. We can't use green for the timeout. It makes the game unfair. Michael is a new kid in the class, and this is what he's telling the playground. I swear to God. And so the kids on the playground said, well, that's the rules. It's everything green. And Michael said, well, that's stupid, and you should change the rules. And they said, we're not going to change the rules. And so Michael, with his hands on his hips, probably, because he used to do that when he would kind of get all miffed, and he said, well, then I'm not playing. And they said, fine, whatever. So he sat on the curb the whole rest of the recess. And he did the exact same thing for the lunch hour recess. So he gets in the car and he's telling me this. And so I'm like, huh. I said, okay. I said, Michael, I want to ask you a question. And he said, what? I said, what grade did you start at your other school in St. Catharines? And he said, I started in junior kindergarten. And I said, and what grade did your school go up to? You could have stayed till. And he said, grade 8. And I said, right. So at your school, you started in junior kindergarten. So I'm going to suspect then that in junior kindergarten, you all in your little class came up with the rules for tag. And he said, yes, of course we did, Mom. I said, okay. So you played those rules, junior kindergarten, senior kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2. He said, yes. I said, okay, what if a new kid had come to your school and told you that your rules were wrong? What would you say to that child? And he said, well, I would have told them they were wrong. I've been playing those rules since junior kindergarten. And I said, exactly. I said, Michael, you are at a new school now. This school goes from junior kindergarten all the way to grade 8. These kids in your grade 3 class have had those rules since junior kindergarten. And he sat there and I could see like the little wheels in his head moving, right? And he's just sitting there and he goes, huh. So what it is then, Mom, is it's just that they just don't know any better. And I said, yeah. He's like, the rules are still stupid. They just don't know any better. And I said, so what are you going to do tomorrow? And he's like, well, now I can play. I mean, they don't have any choice. They've been playing that since junior kindergarten. They just don't know any better. And I was like, okay, then there you go. All it was I had to show him a different perspective for him, because he's only in grade 3, to step back and see what was actually happening. So we all have the ability in our lives to help people shift their perspective, as well as helping ourselves. Michael is like, Mom, how many times do you have to tell that story? I'll never forget that. And the thing is with him, because of the way he was, my entire life as his mother was always constantly shifting his perspective, because he's a Capricorn, so he's very much black and white. I even said to him when he was about 8 years old, and I said to him, Michael, I swear to God, you just need a little bit more gray in your life. And he said, Mom, I don't understand what that means. We can have this discussion when I'm 12. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. So there you go. So we're all done perspective. Did you have a shift of perspective?
Yes.
Does anyone have any comments or anything they would like to discuss?
Well, as far as perspective goes, I found that sometimes new information will change my perspective on something that happened in the past.
Yes.
Something that maybe I was mad about or didn't understand, and then new information or a discussion with a person from the past, out of the blue, it seems like, and then all of a sudden I go, oh, okay, yeah, you know what? I'm not so mad anymore. It's just perspective and changes how I view it.
Exactly. A lot of the stuff that we discussed here, you can literally start implementing, and you may do that. You may all of a sudden implement it into exactly like Catherine said. Now that you have more knowledge of what is happening here, it's like, oh my God, like, wow, I really was wrong there. You know, or like all of a sudden I'm seeing it completely different, and now I do want to do that. You know what I mean? So yeah, all of these methods, the skills, everything we talked about can really help with things that have come up in the past. Definitely. Anyone else?
Nope. For me, I just find like with each workshop, I'm looking at things and people a lot different.
Yeah.
So this has helped me tremendously, just in regards to, I am open-minded, but it's just given me a new outlook on so much. Yeah. And yeah, it's really helping.
I know. And that's the thing. That's what I'm so excited about is, you know, teaching these workshops to the rest of the Army, to the rest of the world. Like, yes. You guys are leaders here that are going to be teaching it, and it's changing your life. Just think about people that don't even have, that aren't as far along as you guys are already. You know, for them to be starting, like you could be teaching people that really have never had any sort of outlook on perspective. And you could change their life completely with some of this information. Just giving it, it's like, oh my gosh, I never looked at it that way. I didn't realize I was doing that. And now, and like all of a sudden you'll see light bulbs go off. It's like, oh my God, you know, they'll have that aha moment. Like I know for myself, like there's been many times where I read a lot of books. And so I found the last little while I wasn't reading as much anymore. So like my New Year's resolution, I don't like to make resolutions. I'm constantly challenging myself. That's what I call it. It's not a resolution, it's a challenge. But that I'm going to definitely, even with as much as I have on my plate, I'm going to read one book a month. And so I didn't think that was a bad challenge, because like I used to go through like a book a week, you know, where it's now like I know what's on my plate. So it's like I can do one a month, you know. So we're constantly self-improving ourselves. So these workshops are just gonna like shift everything for people. Yeah. Wow. Amazing. Well, if you're all good, I'll say goodnight to you, lovely ladies.
Have a great week.
Yes, you too. Bye, guys. Bye, Steve.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Brownie, if you're still in the room.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
guys. Chanel,
Aw.
please reach out to me, okay, honey? If you need any help at all, please reach out.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks again.
Okay. Good night, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Night.